Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end the videos. Another paid request, this time from Alban. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And Alban wanted me to showcase my top 15 favorite films of 1989. Now this is a tough one because there's so many that I had to leave out, and I hate that because it's such a great year for movies. Whether it be Batman, Ghostbusters 2, Back to the Future Part 2, License to Kill with the James Bond Timothy Dalton film. So I finally brought it down to my 15 favorites. I'm going to start with number 1, a personal favorite of mine, Leviathan. Childhood favorite of mine. Love this film. Love the cast. You got Peter Weller from RoboCop, Amanda Pays from the TV show The Flash from the 90s. You have Richard Crenna from the first 3 Rambo films, Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters, Daniel Stern, Hector Elizondo. Love the cast, love the rapport with each other, love the effects by Stan Winston, love how they shot the underwater, but it was dry for wet, so they weren't really underwater. Love the set design of, let's see, underwater miners who stumble across the rusting wreck of a phantom Russian freighter, unleashing the monstrous remnant of a failed experiment in genetic engineering. Love the music by Jerry Goldsmith. Love the ending. I don't like the Ernie Hudson. They could have done more with his character, I'll say that. But I love the say, ah, motherfucker. I love the punch to Maid Foster in the face, which they would never get away with today. I love the dialogue. Call me Becky one more time, 6-pack. I'm going to pop your tops. All 6 of them. So much so that everything else is falling. I love that stuff. So that was very fun. It's always been a childhood favorite of mine. I always still. And always love Leviathan. Always will. Always champion that film. I do hope Tino Lorber actually does the 4K, but there's been no word on it. Do have the Blu-ray. Sadly, the Blu-ray's out of print. But thankfully I do have a copy of it. But yeah, I always love Leviathan. I do watch that anytime. Number 2, I put See No Evil, Hear No Evil. It's a favorite comedy of mine. I love the Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder chemistry. I laugh a lot in that movie, especially at Richard Pryor's performance. Just how much of a smartass he is, even though he's blind, doesn't hinder him. Talked to his sister. Wait, you mean I'm not white? It feels like it. Oh no, sis, I guess you're white. You're right. Does Dad know? I think sadly because of Richard Pryor's affliction at this time, him playing blind actually worked in his favor. Because if he's not quite there, it makes sense because he's playing a blind character. And I thought him and Gene Wilder, they did quite a few movies together, but this one I always thought was the funniest. Consistently funny. Because Silver Streak, Richard Pryor doesn't come in until like halfway through the film. Then he disappears for a chunk, and then he comes back at the end of the film. Stir Crazy I don't mind, but the third act, there's really no laughs. It's just them escaping a rodeo. Here, as they're framed for murder, it just seemed consistently funny as they have to be together throughout the whole film because one's deaf and one's blind. But together, we could do anything. Pretty heartwarming concept, too. I'm not disabled. I have you. And they're both sitting there, and one is helping the other. Pretty commendable. Was or wasn't there a woman? Are you serious? You're goddamn right I'm serious. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a woman? What the hell is he talking about? He reads lips, you're talking too fast. Well, why is he talking like this? Cause the guy's deaf, not stupid. I love the film, and yes, Kevin Spacey's in it, but he's playing a villainous character, so it fits well. I like the score as well. I think it's Stuart Copeland. I could be wrong with that, but I believe it's Stuart Copeland who did the score. Just a very funny comedy. I got it on Blu-ray right here. Can't pull it out because it's near the bottom. Don't want the whole thing toppling over, but love seeing No Evil, Hear No Evil. I should say, like, the story's about a blind guy and a deaf guy. They meet, they become friends. They work at their job. Someone they know is killed. They're framed for it, and then they're on the run while also trying to catch the real bad guys who did this stuff. And it all has to do with this coin, or what's in the coin, I should say. So, very funny movie. Number 3, I put Cyborg, childhood favorite of mine. Yes, technically there are better films, but that one just appealed to me with what they could do on a low budget, and Van Damme using his body to his strong potential with the kicks and the punches, and just all these moments that just struck out to me when I was a kid. Him doing the splits while the guy's going under when they're in the sewer, and he slams the knife down to the guy's head, and the way that's edited back and forth. The final fight between him and Fender. Fender, fucker! Him being crucified in this horrible flashback where this girl is trying to hold her family with barbed wire, but it's shredding her hands until they fall. But he survived. And the way that reflects back to him and breaking the damn crucifix that he's on. So, I thought that was pretty fun. Fun in the fact of just satisfying, like, yeah! The other JC didn't do that, he did it though. And I like the Fender, the villain, the look. I like the voice they put into it to make him seem much more demonic sounding. I like the musical score. I think they did what they could with the low budget. So I always like Cyborg. Number 4, I put Tango and Cash. I love that film. It's a great buddy cop film. You got Kurt Russell, you got Stallone together. Rambo and Snake Plissken. Cobra and Jab Burton. The fact you got Stallone and Kurt Russell in the same movie as buddies, to me, is a great casting. Kudos. And then you got like Jack Palance as your villain. You got kick-ass action. Great score by Harold Faltermeyer, who did Beverly Hills Cop, among other films, Fletch. I know they had a lot of production problems, but such a satisfying movie. And a fitting send-off for the 80s, because technically that was the last film released, at least theatrically, in the 80s, in 1989. What a fitting send-off. A film that epitomizes the 80s. You know, the ending, the best of what we got, heroes again. I mean, that is a fitting end to the... Sorry, I'm... Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. Because I'm expecting a phone call, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I love Tango and Cash. It's a... And yeah, I apologize. I'm my whole vibe is fucked up. I apologize. Just trying to do things because I'm expecting a phone call, but I want to get these videos done for people because I hate that people have to wait for this stuff. So again, sorry for this tangent. And then Davis Rooster decides to put his 2 cents in. Fuck him. Gonna serve some Popeye's chicken to him. Make him a goddamn cannibal. Fuck that chicken. But anyway, Tango and Cash. Some nice supporting cast too. You got Michael J. Pollard, and you got, not only do they have him, but Clint Howard. Terry Hatcher's pretty sexy in it. So that's pretty fun to see all that stuff utilized in that. I say some cool action. The way both of them are introduced. Whether it be Stallone's ode to Jackie Chan's police story, with the truck coming towards him, or Kurt Russell with the car chasing the garage, the RV from the, what was it, did they say the RV from hell, like the truck from hell with the Gatling guns on the side. Again, a fitting end to the 80s. Number 5, I put The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. My favorite Punisher film. Sadly, did not get a theatrical release, which is too bad. Yes, he does not wear the Punisher shirt. The symbol would have been nice. But I thought Dolph really embodied a guy who's not quite there, but he's obsessed with doing his business of punishing the guilty. And I thought Dolph Lundgren did a good job, and he's a badass using all sorts of weapons, and as well as martial arts. He's using shotguns, he's throwing knives, he's pistol, like all sorts of stuff. Swords through screen doors. When him and the guy come in, they just wipe out all those people. That screamed the Punisher to me. Has a pretty good body count. I like that the Yakuza were the villains, and that it was a bit ballsy with taking kids hostage, and decently violent film. Love Louis Gossett Jr. in the movie. The score fit the film very well. What the fuck do you call 125 murders in 5 years, Frank? Work in progress. Great line. Love that film. Love The Punisher. Did not deserve the hate that it got. Thought that was bullshit. Number 6, Weekend at Bernie's. That's a fun film. That's a childhood favorite of mine. Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman, I thought, had great chemistry. Yes, it's a silly idea. They're invited by their boss. Unbeknownst to them, the boss is a crook and is going to have them killed, but he gets killed instead. So they think this guy just died because of an overdose. They're like, well, wait a minute, let's pretend Bernie didn't die. And then we'll enjoy, and then he'll be found later. And so them parading his dead body along. Yes, I know it's completely unrealistic. The body would be stinking up. He would have shit his pants because the fluids would be released once you're dead. All this other stuff. It's a fantasy. But it's a pretty funny, entertaining fantasy. And pretty funny in his dark humor with how they prop Birdie up. And because he's such a sleazeball guy, you don't really feel bad for him. And the way Terry Kaiser plays the dead body with being strung up, hey, goodbye. Or he actually has been pulled along the boat and is hitting all the things in the ocean. What the hell is that? I don't know. Ah, Bernie, get your ass in here. Great location of the beautiful resort. Very entertaining film. And by two guys that had good chemistry. Didn't need a sequel. But the first one's pretty fun. Loved the soundtrack as well. Some like it hot. Some like it hot. Number 7, I put Shocker. My favorite Wes Craven film. Mitch Pileggi is a lot of fun as the villain. Figure licking good after he bit off some guy's fingers. Love the lead guy, Peter Berg. Love the heavy metal soundtrack, especially the song "The Sword and the Stone." You are the sword. Yeah. You are the sword. I am the stone. The love story may seem cringe to people, but it was endearing to me. The effects might not be top notch, but it didn't bother me too much. I know people say it's reminiscent of Freddy Krueger, but I still thought he did enough of his own thing to be its own entity. And at times it was funny, at times it was exciting. The possession of the bodies and the whole finale going through all the different channels I thought was very inventive. So I did quite like that. Quite a bit. That was a lot of fun. Love Shocker. Number 8, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Had to put that on there because I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. And like I said, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. And it's a very enjoyable movie. I like the work he has with Sean Connery as his dad. I think they worked very well together. I like the whole opening with River Phoenix and the young Indiana Jones. You see little bits of how he got certain things, like the star on his chin. It was a great relic to go on an adventure for. The Holy Grail made perfect sense. The villains are there. Not as strong as the villains in the first two films, but they were adequate. But a lot of great set pieces, whether it be the fighting on the tank, or the whole finale, going through the traps in order to get to the Holy Grail. Like the penitent man shall pass, and kneel and bow. Or they go on to certain words to spell out a certain word. Then you go on each of the letters to spell it out. Harrison Ford still had that great charm and energy. A good ending to Indiana Jones. I like the fourth film, but you could have ended it here as they go off into the sunset. I thought Harrison Ford, Sean Connery, they just had great chemistry with each other. Really bought them as father and son. Sean Connery's character learning to respect his son more, thus telling his son to let it go. Finally saying Indiana instead of Junior, showing a level of respect and that they really do care for each other. Nice to see Sala and Brody back from the first movie, played by John Rhys Davies and Denholm Elliott. Great work by John Williams once again. This is a great action-adventure movie. Number 9, The Burbs. Love the film. This dark comedy. My favorite Joe Dante. My favorite Tom Hanks film. Love its take on suburbia, where you have these neighbors who are nosy and they realize that the Klopeks may or may not be evil people. Doing sort of an ode to horror films. Even have odes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, among others. Like the cast of characters. Tom Hanks and his wife, played by Terry Fisher. His neighbor Rick Dukeman, who's more paranoid. Bruce Dern, who's more of a military guy. I love how they all work together in the movie. Even Corey Feldman didn't do a bad job. I always think of two moments. One is, Ray, you chanting. I'm going to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan's our pal. Ray, you're chanting. Once they get in there, it's over, pal. And the second one being when Tom Hanks and Rick Dukeman are going up to the house. It turns to like a Sergio Leone movie with the music and the camera zooming on each of the other people's eyes, including the damn dog's eyes. That got a chuckle out of me. So I really like The Burbs. Number 10, I put Kickboxer, being a big Van Damme fan. Love the training bits in that movie, the showcases physical attributes. Love the fight at the end. The music. The music and the way that fight's done is one of my favorite fights in action movies. The right usage of slow-mo, the right angles to really show Van Damme's ability, and some of the most beautiful kicks I've ever seen in an action film. Beautiful 360 kicks, just fantastic stuff. I love it. I like the guy who plays his trainer. The other actors who Tom Poe, they work well for what they need to be. I enjoyed training sequences and a great fight at the end. Sort of Van Damme's version of Rocky. And Van Damme wasn't too bad acting-wise in being so early in his career, trying to hone in the English language. I think even here you see he's a bit more charming compared to a lot of other actors that tried to be in that same ballpark. He had that it factor that easily made him a star. Number 11, I put Lock Up. Underrated Stallone film, prison drama. Donald Sutherland, you just love to hate him as the bad guy, the warden that wants revenge on Stallone's character. Stallone, I think, gave a really good performance. I love the other people, Tom Sizemore, Frank McRae. Fred McRae was the boss and the captain, Last Action Hero, and the original 48 Hours. He's an ally to Stallone in this film. Tom Sizemore, another prisoner. Great story by Bill Conti that really gets your blood pumping. You really root for Stallone's character, you really feel sorry for him, and you're hoping for him to pull through. Great underrated drama. Love the song at the end, Ever Since the World Began. Was it, I think, Jimmy Jameson? Very underrated Stallone film. Definitely one of his more underrated pictures. Number 12, I put Red Scorpion. It's pretty much Stallone. Stallone had Rambo, and Arnold had Commando. So now Dolph gets his shot in Red Scorpion. He's playing a Russian since he played a Russian in Rocky IV, but here he's the good guy, Spetsnaz. And pretty much he's hired on this mission, things go haywire, then he starts to realize that he's working for the wrong people, gets with this American played by M. Emmett Walsh, who was in the first Missing in Action film, among many other movies. He was the sheriff in the first Critters film. And as he puts it, let's go kick some ass. And Dolph Lundgren gets to do his Rambo thing. He just is, I forget what the gun is called, but I love the gun in it. What is that called? Red Scorpion gun. I don't even know if I'll be able to find it. Okay, I love the look of it. I love the design of it. Okay, gotta wait for it to load up. FN-FAL mocked up to resemble an experimental Soviet assault rifle. Modified with twin barrels, a custom stock, the pistol grip from a Vector SS-77 general purpose machine gun, and a large magazine foregrip and a Lewis Guns drum magazine mounted on top. So it's made up for the movie, but it looks pretty fucking cool. And massive, and just how he's taking on these bad guys, even takes down a fucking helicopter, and you see pieces of the helicopter blow up. I'm like, oh shit, yeah! He's turning his big fucking turret and using it to blow some buildings up. Just big, bombastic 80s action. And it's from the same director of Missing in Action, Joseph Zito. So I really do like Red Scorpion. Got the Synapse Blu-ray, and apparently, sadly, that Blu-ray didn't do well, which is too bad. Because I would like to have seen them do more action films, but yeah, apparently it didn't do well, which is, again, too bad. Let's see. Number 13, I put The Abyss. There's a lot of movies I like, but The Abyss, I do enjoy. I think the way, it was such a hard shoot for everybody on that, and what they got was very commendable. It's a beautiful looking movie. The way all the underwater shots, it just, I think even nowadays even more mesmerizing, even more awe-inspiring, because they would never do this today. Understandably, because it'd be dangerous, as well as expensive, but filming everything underwater the way it was done here, of course, brings that sense of reality of being under so far down in the ocean, and how oppressive and how dark it could be and how dangerous. You could feel the danger around all the actors. And Ed Harris, I think the love story is very endearing. I think the story is very well done. I like the look of the aliens. I do prefer the theatrical cut. Actually, I would not mind a version where it's like the special edition stuff, but you leave the theatrical cut ending. Because I don't like the preachy, Day There Stood Still type of ending of the director's cut. I don't. I'd rather be more up in the air, or just more, why did they do this? Because they want to help. They saw we were in trouble. I like more the simple idea that they saw their communication and saw one telling the other I love you, and getting the idea they're about ready to die, and they wanted to help. They saw someone who loved someone else and they needed help. We're going to go and help. No questions asked. To me, that was much more of a nice, interesting gesture than this preachy environmental message. I didn't try to do a bit of the, you better stop fucking with us or we could take out all you guys with this big ass tidal wave. I don't know. I prefer the much simple effect of the original, where you were much more mysterious on the motives of the aliens and you could think of it yourself. So, and Michael Biehn was great as the villain, Coffee. So, and you really did a sense of the blue collar people working down there, and I thought Ed Harris did a good job. I know also he hated working on the film, and I can't really blame him when you hear all the stories behind the scenes, what happened during it, but everyone did a good job. Some very good emotional sequences. Like when Ed Harris is getting his former wife try to resuscitate her. You gotta fight, fight, fight. I bought every second of Ed Harris saying that, man. Number 14, I put Gleaming the Cube. Can we get this film on fucking Blu-ray sometime? Starring Christian Slater as this guy who, he's sort of the rebel of the family, and it seems like his parents liked his stepbrother more than their actual. The parents have a stepson, seem like they like more than the actual son, but Christian Slater and the stepbrother, they have a good bond with each other. They really like and care for each other. But his stepbrother gets murdered. Christian Slater wants to find out what happened. And him and his skateboarding buddies use their skateboarding skills. And at one point, Christian Slater also gets with his cop. I think the cop is the guy from Scarface. Not Al Pacino, but his buddy. I forget his name, damn it. Got a phone right here. What was Stephen Bauer? That was his name. I thought Christian Slater did a good job, and I liked the story. You have people like Tony Hawk in the film as his buddies, his skateboarding buddies. Some good skateboarding tricks. I like the rapport between him and Stephen Bauer. And yeah, this is one of those films I wish. I mean, we got Rad out on Blu-ray and 4K. Come on, we gotta get Gleaming the Cube out there, man. It is for free on YouTube. So, at least you can watch on YouTube, and apparently in HD. At least that's what it says here. I'll turn it down so I don't get in trouble with YouTube, but let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll be back after this ad. Never mind. So, yeah, Gleaming the Cube, that deserves a Blu-ray release. It was on DVD overseas a while ago, and it's been on other, like, cable channels. It's probably how they got this HD version. Well, they say HD, but, better looking version than VHS. Just never been on DVD in the US. Like I said, at one point it was DVD overseas, cable. Yeah, let's get this film out there, man. Come on now. Well, all these other fucking films they got a goddamn release. Why not this one? That's just me, though. Just me. At number 15, I put Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Endearing characters, a plot that should not have worked. I mean, think about it. If you're telling someone, I got a plot for a movie for you. Okay, what is it? It's two guys in high school, and someone tells them, here's a phone booth, and you guys are going to save the world, but we need to save you because you don't fail your history report. So in order to keep you guys together, here's a phone booth, go through time, collect all these historical figures, transport them to do your school report. Like, in the middle of people go like, what, stop, just, yeah, get the fuck out of it. This sounds stupid. And if you say it out loud, it sounds stupid, but yet they made it work. You had two actors, young, fresh guys that committed to those roles of Bill and Ted and made them lovable guys. You have good support for people like George Carlin as Rufus. The director knew how to handle the material. Had enough of a wit and a charm to keep the proceedings going. And kind of just go with the outrageousness of it. These historical figures take over a mall. Beethoven being obsessed with, keyboards and the way of the 80s culture that was happened during that time. And this is a film that almost didn't get released. This is a film where at one point it was going to be dumped. I don't know if it was going to be never released or it was going to be dumped to showing on cable or something. I don't know. I forget what the details were, but something prevailed and they released it, and it was actually a surprise hit for Orion Pictures, which was a company that was not doing that well at the time. But this helped save their bacon for quite a bit, so. And it got a sequel, it got a cartoon, got a short-lived live-action show, and then, sadly, a piece of shit third film many years later. Great soundtrack. And just fun. Just a fun, entertaining movie. And yeah, I know there's a lot of ones I wanted to put on there. Dead Bane with Don Johnson, Batman, Ghostbusters 2, Back to the Future 2. It was hard to sleep. But I kind of went for ones that were either a bit more underrated, like Gleaming the Cube, or Lock Up, or a bit more that wasn't talked about as much. And, yeah. I mean, there's a lot more. It was a great year for movies, which is sad because you compare 89 and all these movies I'm listing. And ones I didn't list, I didn't. Batman, Ghostbusters 2, License to Kill, Back to the Future Part 2, and more. And you look at the state of affairs today, it's really fucking depressing. I can't name 15 movies I gave a shit this year, let alone, I don't know if I can name 10. And if I can, they're like, it was okay, it was alright, that kind of reaction. So, take that for what you will. But with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.